Ismail Abdulsalam Beats Boxing Mayhem. Here, I just wanted to put together a quick video. I know all you fellow boxing fans, I'm imagining you're still on cloud nine after that phenomenal fight we had last night between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Instant classic. I watched it here at home. I was jumping up in my seat, hooping and hollering, waking up the whole house. One of the best fight experiences I've ever had watching a fight. Probably one of the best heavyweight fights I've seen since I've been covering boxing. Amazing fight. Both men elevated themselves. Both had to dig deep, gut checks. Amazing fight, amazing atmosphere. So, of course, the next question is, let's reflect on the fight and where do these guys go next? I will say, of course, not to brag, I did pick Fury by late KO. I have no problems with everybody being all over the place with their picks. I mean, let's be honest. Most of us were going just by our gut instincts. There was no sparring footage before this fight, no training camp footage from either fighter. So basically we were going on, what we thought about their confidence and who would be affected less by the layoff, having both of them been out of the ring for, nearly a year. So I will say I was very impressed with how Deontay started the fight. He was jabbing to the body, but it immediately also raised a big concern that I had was the fact that every single jab that he was throwing, every punch really, was extremely hard, full force, full body into it. And that's a quick way to tire yourself out. We used to see the same thing with Jermaine Taylor back in the day, throwing hard and then not having anything left in the tank in the championship rounds. He was wound up too tight. I think he might have been a little bit caught up in the moment and the emotions of having, getting back in the ring with somebody that he had so much animosity for. So he really tired out quick. And then, of course, that third round knockdown didn't help any. Of course, he came back in the fourth, scored 2 knockdowns of his own, got right back in the fight. But honestly, after about, I would say, the 5th round, Tyson was taking him to the woodshed. So really from round 6 until the finish in round 11, he was, Deontay was taking hard shots every single round. Now, I don't agree with some people who were saying that it should have been stopped earlier. There was really no point in the fight where he was defenseless. Yes, he was being brutalized in spots, but, he did come back to stun Wilder. Came back to stun Fury in the 10th round, even after getting knocked down. And in rounds before that, he always had pockets where he would get a few hard punches off. So there was really no point before the finish in the 11th round where you really could have stopped the fight. It was just a brutal fight, back and forth fight. These fights do happen. So he said he wanted to go out on a shield. That's exactly what happened. He got his wish. So where does Deontay go from here? He is 35 years old. This was a very debilitating fight. I did say this on Twitter yesterday that I feel this was one of those fights that will take something out of him. Now, when we do hear that, I think we automatically assume that we mean the fighter is going to be damaged or he's going to be completely washed up after a fight like this. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, even the Deontay Wilder, that's 80% of what what was in the ring on October 9th is still formidable. It's still an elite heavyweight. So just because he might be diminished 10%, 15%, doesn't mean he's not still going to be the most dangerous heavyweight in the division. But what I do believe he needs to do, number one, is take a long layoff. I don't think he should be in the ring until at least late spring, early summer 2022. Definitely a long break. Now, who he fights when he comes back is going to be interesting. I'm pretty sure he's going to stay on the PBC side. He does deserve a soft touch. Who would that be? PBC does not have a big list of heavyweights. Adam Kownacki, of course, is off the table. Robert Helenius just came off a big win last night, winning by DQ against Kownacki in the rematch. He might be the opponent. There was a little bit of backstory. They did spar together, but that might be too much of a dangerous opponent coming off a long layoff and having your last fight being a brutal knockout. So maybe a Travis Kaufman who hasn't fought since 2020. He could be somebody that they can get off the couch, maybe for Deontay's comeback fight, or maybe even Charles Martin. Who knows where he'll be, spring, early summer 2022. So a fight at that level, I think, would be good for Deontay after a long layoff and just time to relax and heal. I do like the Malik Scott partnership. He has his trust. I think they can build on what they did last night. I think he just ran into a much superior fighter. My pick as far as, picking Fury to win by late stoppage was really just based on the fact that he has more weapons, more ways he could win. I felt that when it came down to intangibles, there's just more things that Fury had to pull out this victory. And just looking at their previous 24 rounds, Fury won the majority of them, and he won the last fight in dominant fashion, which is what leaned me towards picking him by stoppage last night. Now, on Fury's end, of course, we all would like to see the unification between the winner of the Joshua and Usyk rematch, but the WBC has put their mandatory out that Fury must face the winner of Otto Wallin and Dillian Whyte. So that's going to be his next fight. I don't think either guy is going to give him problems. Of course, the Otto Wallin fight, there's a little bit of history there with Fury having that bad cut, which really would have stopped any other fight. So Otto Wallin can claim to be the uncrowned champion. That's what the angle they want to go with. And of course, there's history with Dillian Whyte, who's been waiting years for his title shot. So either guy, I think, is an interesting fight, but Fury overwhelming favor in either one of them. So I think that's going to take up at least the first half of his 2022, and then maybe in late 2022 we can finally get the unification fight. But what I loved the most about last night is that all eyes were on boxing. We got the casual fans interested in it. They got a great dramatic fight. So hopefully we can keep some eyes tuned. It's always funny, we complain about casual fans, but at the same time we complain, why doesn't boxing get casual, fan coverage? So, but this is going to be front page news for ESPN and all the networks on Monday. Everyone's going to be talking about it. So this is good for boxing. We had a great card too. So I just want to hear what you guys think. What do you think about last night? Does your opinion of anybody change? Do you think the same about Deontay Wilder? Do you have newfound respect for him? Newfound respect for Fury? Do you see both guys continuing to be at the top of the division? Do you think Wilder's lost something or will lose something, having suffered such a horrific knockout? Let me know. I want to hear what you guys think. And I also want to hear what you think about the undercard, because the Julian Williams, loss was very, very surprising. To me, he's pretty much out of contention as far as the title, getting back in the title picture anytime soon. So it's interesting to see where he's going to go from here, because that was a shocking loss. He pretty much had nothing left over the second half of the fight. And then we also had, another heavyweight contest between contenders, with Frank Sanchez coming up with a dominant win. Of course, it wasn't exciting, but Ajagba had nothing for him. He completely dominated that fight. So where do you think Frank Sanchez goes from here? His stock is going to be risen, but maybe not necessarily in a good way, because it was such a not exciting fight. And he has such a hard technical style, that Cuban style, to crack. What other heavyweight contenders are going to want to get in the ring with him? Because they know they're going to get a hard night. Even if it's not a physically taxing fight, just being able to track him down in the ring is going to be very, very difficult. So let me know what you think of the card. Where do you see Tyson Fury going from here? Where do you see Deontay Wilder going from here? Love to hear from you guys. And just to let you know, coming up next week, I have an interview with top-ranked prospect Xander Zayas, who's going to be on the undercard of Jamel Herring and Shakur Stevenson, which is coming down here in Atlanta on October 23rd. And I also may have an interview on the music side for those of you who is showing my age a little bit. If you remember the singer Reese, who had a very popular album called How I Do in 2001 that came out. A lot of people consider that a classic album. Hopefully going to be interviewing her soon. And I'm going to be trying to get some more interviews up, coming up on a lot of these guys coming up in the scene. So stay tuned, looking forward to hearing from you guys, and appreciate you checking in. And let me know if there's any other interviews that you want to see, guys that you want to see on the channel. Feel free to let me know. All right, guys, appreciate it, and you have a good Sunday.